Okay, writers, yesterday we learned about narrative writing. Today we're going to take narrative writing one step further and learn about personal narratives. I want you to repeat our I can statements after me. I can write a personal narrative that has a sequence of events in the right order with a beginning, middle, and ending by using descriptive details, dialogue, and a mix of transition words or sayings. I can improve my writing by planning, revising, and editing based on guidance and feedback from my teacher and my peers.
I can improve my writing by planning, revising, and editing based on guidance and feedback from my teacher and my peers.
I can present my narrative orally in a sequence of events that make sense using nonverbal cues, appropriate volume, and clear pronunciation.
I can present my narrative orally in a sequence of events that makes sense using nonverbal cues, appropriate.
Let's go over some of our narrative writing visual clues we learned yesterday. This is our visual cue for true. This is our visual cue for imaginary. This is our visual cue for myself. This is our visual cue for someone else. And this is our visual cue for memorable. Okay, writers, we learned yesterday that a narrative is a true or imaginary story about myself or someone else that is memorable. Who would like to volunteer to tell us what a narrative means to you in your own words? No one wants to volunteer? Then I guess I'm going to have to pick somebody. Let's see, who can I pick? Oh, Akina raised her hand. Akina, thank you for volunteering. Please go ahead.
Basically, every story is a narrative. The story has to be something that after you finish reading the story it stays in your memory. It does not matter who the story is about. You can write a story about yourself or someone else. The story can be about anything you want to write about. You can write about something from your imagination, like the time you found a secret room in your house that had a big magic carpet, and you went for a ride on it. Or you can write about something that really happened to you, like the first time you learned how to ride your bike with no training wheels.
Akina, I love your definition of a narrative. Great job including those examples. Today we are going to be exploring the second type of narrative, a personal narrative. Who would like to share any ideas you have about what a personal narrative is? No one has any ideas about what a personal narrative is? That's okay. Perhaps this music video will help us come up with some ideas about what a personal narrative is.
Personal narrative tells a story. It tells a story. It starts with introduction. It starts with introduction. It has a beginning. It has a beginning. It has a middle. It has a middle. And it has an end. And it has an end. And then we wrap it up with the conclusion. And then we wrap it up with the conclusion. I said we wrap it up with the conclusion. I said we wrap it up with the conclusion. A personal narrative is a story about yourself.
my star creative writers feel about the music video we just watched. Did you like the song or did you not like it? It's okay if anyone did not like it. To me, music is like food. Not everyone likes the same thing. By show of hands, how many of my authors enjoyed the music video? Almost all my authors enjoyed the music video. Who would like to share one reason they liked the video? Jason wants to share. Go ahead, Jason.
I like the video because it makes something that I think will be boring to learn about, not really as boring as I thought it is going to be.
Great answer, Jason. Thank you for sharing. I agree. Sometimes a song about something you think is going to be boring at first can turn something you're not interested in learning about into something you're excited about learning. But not everyone liked the video, and that's perfectly okay. Who would like to share one reason why you did not enjoy the video? Carmen wants to answer. Go ahead, Carmen.
Mrs. Fraser, I thought the song was pretty cool, but what I didn't like was there was no real video. We just heard the words but we didn't see any actions or what the song is telling a story, and the video is the story acted out. A music video with just the song is like a story with no pictures.
Carmen, what a fantastic connection you made between the song and a music video telling a story and the video showing what is happening in the story to reading a story with no pictures in a book. I agree with you. Pictures make the story. Okay, authors, we know that a narrative is a true or imaginary story about myself or someone else that is memorable. But what is a personal narrative? Does anybody have any ideas now about what a personal narrative is? Kira wants to answer. Go ahead, Kira.
I think it is a true or imaginary story about yourself that is memorable.
Show of hands, how many of you agree with Kiera? Most of you agree with Kiera. Why do you think a personal narrative is a true or imaginary story about yourself that is memorable? Jose raised his hand first. Go ahead, Jose.
Because the only difference is one is just narrative, the other has the word personal. Personal means just you. So this means a story can be any type, real or imaginary, but it's just about you, no one else.
Good job, Jose, finding the first difference between a personal narrative and a narrative. Yes, you are right. One difference between the two types of narratives is a personal narrative must be a story just about you. So the story can't be about someone else. Okay, authors, Jose found our first difference. Now we are going to discover our second big difference. A personal narrative is a true story about myself that is memorable. A personal narrative cannot be about someone else, and it cannot be imaginary. It has to be a true story about something you experienced. Jason has a question. Go ahead, Jason.
What about if I told about how I created my imaginary friend Jerry?
Is it a true story about your experience creating your imaginary friend Jerry?
Yes, it is a true story of how I created my imaginary friend Jerry.
Yes, Jason, that would be a personal narrative. It's a true story about your experience creating your imaginary friend Jerry. But it could not be about something imaginary you experienced. For example, you could not tell a story about an imaginary trip to the moon you took with Jerry. That would be a narrative. Great question, Jason. Authors, the difference between a narrative and a personal narrative is that a narrative can be any memorable, true, or imaginary story about you or someone else. But a personal narrative can only be a memorable story about yourself that is true. The story must be about something you really experienced. Akina, what is the difference between a narrative and a personal narrative?
A narrative is a true or imaginary story about you or anyone else that is memorable. A personal narrative
all know that good writers draw stories from their own life experiences. Since the first day of kindergarten, you have been doing this. Writing about important experiences from our own lives will be our main focus as authors. A personal narrative is a fancy way of saying writing about your life. It could be a minor everyday thing or a major life event. Here are some of the things that have happened in my life that I would like to write about. Learning to ride my bike, the time I broke my arm, the time I got lost in the woods, the time I won the 100-meter dash, my cat Princess. Writers, close your eyes and think about your own life. Ponder what events or experiences you would like to share. Remember that it could be something that happened recently or many years ago. Something frightening may have happened to you. Perhaps it was the time you got lost in a store. It could have been something funny. Maybe your dog chewed your slipper or you arrived at school with your clothing on backwards and inside out. List the things that have happened to you and why they stand out in your memory in your own head. Now turn to your neighbor and share your thoughts with them. You can use the sentence starters on the board if you need help getting started. Who would like to share their writing ideas? Kira wants to share. Go ahead, Kira.
I want to write about the time I went to visit my grandmother and we got stuck in the snow.
That sounds like an interesting story, Kira. Would anyone else like to share their writing ideas? Jose wants to share. Go ahead, Jose.
The time my pet frog got lost.
Authors, you have some really great story ideas. I can't wait to read all of your personal narratives. Now that we have a list of ideas to write about, we are going to choose one to write about. As a writer, I think about which experiences are most interesting to me and would be of interest to my reader. I'd like to tell you about the time I won the 100-meter dash. As a writer, I can visualize my idea as a movie in my head before starting to write. What happened in the beginning, middle, and the end? What are the details? To Okay, writers, this is the personal narrative graphic organizer we are going to be using today. Who is the story about? This is the character. What happened? This is going to be the event. When did it happen? This is part of the setting. Where did it happen? This is also part of the setting. Now for the details. Think actions. Describe what you did, said, thought, and how you felt. Detail 1. What did you do? Detail 2. What did you say? Detail 3. What did you think? Detail 4. How did you feel? These are going to Okay, writers, let's take a look at my graphic organizer for my story. Who is the story about? Well, the story is about me. What happened in the story, or what is the story about? It's about winning the 100-meter dash. When did it happen? In 4th grade. Where did it happen? At school on field day. Now for the details. Detail 1, last year I lost, this year I trained. My second detail is my t-shirt was going to help me. My third detail is the principal winked at me, I felt sick. My fourth detail is I went too soon, and how it ended, I won. Hey writers, the first thing I'm going to do is look at my graphic organizer to help me organize my thoughts. After I read over my list, I'm going to ask myself, what is the first thing I want my readers to know about my story? Well, I want readers to know that today was field day and I wanted to win the 100-meter dash. So I will start my rough draft with, today was field day and I was ready for the 100-meter dash. Next, I'm going to ask myself, why did I want to win the 100-meter dash? Well, I wanted to win because Last year I lost because the new kid beat me. So I will tell my readers why I wanted to win. I could do this by saying, last year the new kid beat me. What else can I tell my readers? I know I can tell my readers that I have been training. I want to give some more details about my setting. I ask myself, what is happening at school? Well, everyone is wearing their house colors when I got there. Remember, writers, you want your readers to visualize your story in their mind. How can I help my reader visualize what it looked like at school? I could say, when I arrived at school, everyone was wearing their house colors. What about me? How can I help my readers visualize what I look like? I know I can say, my yellow t-shirt was going to help me. We're off to a good start, writers. Let's keep going. Authors, before I continue to write, I am going to look at my graphic organizer to make sure all the details I wanted. When I check my graphic organizer, I see I have included detail 1. Last year I lost, this year I trained, and I've also included my second detail. My t-shirt was going to help me. The next detail I want to include is detail 3. The principal winked at me. I felt sick. Let me think. How can I include this detail? I ask myself, what was happening that made the principal wink at me? And why did I feel sick? Well, I remember as the day went on, so did all the other events. Then they called the 4th grade girls 100-meter dash. I remember when they called the 4th grade girls 100-meter dash, I started to feel sick. I looked at the principal. She was holding the whistle and she winked. I can describe this to my readers by saying, as the day went on, all the events had come and gone. Long jump, high jump, shot put. Then they called the 4th grade girls 100-meter dash. I felt sick. My legs were weak. I turned white. The principal had the whistle. She winked. You can do it, I said. Now I'm going to check my graphic organizer to make sure I'm sticking to my plan for the details. When I look back at my graphic organizer, I see that is detail 3. The last detail, detail 4, is I started too soon. Last detail, detail 4, is I started too soon. I ask myself, what made me start too early? Well, as soon as I heard on your marks, get set, I started to move. So I will tell my readers what happened by saying, I heard on your marks, get set, and my legs started. Now I want to elaborate a little bit more and tell my readers what I was thinking. One way I can do this is by saying, I knew what happened. I started before the whistle. In the Olympics, people get disqualified for false starts. I watched my hopes and dreams disappear. Okay, authors, now I'm going to check my graphic organizer one more time to make sure I included. Authors, we can check off detail number 4. I went too soon. All we have left to do is wrap it up with a conclusion. Tell how the story ended. Well, how does the story end? I won the race, but I don't want to end the story by saying I won the end. I don't think that would be a good ending. What about you guys? What do you think? You're all shaking your heads no. I agree. Light bulb, what if I said, but this wasn't the Olympics, and the principal told me to get back in line to try again. I waited for the whistle. This time my legs felt like they were flying. I won the race. Do you guys think this is a better ending? You're all shaking your heads. Yes, so do I. Alright, authors, now I check my graphic organizer one more time. Who is the story about? Well, it's about me, so it's a personal narrative. What happened? It's about the time I won the 100-meter dash. So it's a true story about me. We have our setting in fourth grade. We have another part of our setting at school field day. We have all our details, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we have a strong ending. Great job writing. I have my rough draft. What is the next thing I'm going to do? Am I going to just look for spelling and grammar errors? You're all shaking your head no. Okay, what is the next thing I'm going to do then? Jason wants to answer. Go ahead, Jason.
Next, you read your rough draft again and look for ways you can make it better.
That's right, Jason. I am going to reread my rough draft to find ways to make it better. Let's look at the first sentence. The first sentence says, "Today was field day and I was ready for the 100-meter dash." We know the first sentence is one of the most important sentences in our story. Who remembers what this sentence is called? Carmen raised her hand. Go ahead, Carmen.
The first sentence is called the hook.
That's right, Carmen. The first sentence is called the hook. The hook has a very important job. Carmen, what is the hook's job?
The hook's job is to get your reader's attention.
Good job, Carmen. The hook's job is to grab the reader's attention. Carmen, why do we want to grab our reader's attention from the very start?
To make your readers want to finish reading the story. If your story starts off like it is going to be a boring story, no one will want to keep reading something boring.
Exactly. Carmen, what about my hook? How can I make my hook better?
Today was not just a normal school day. Today was field day and I was ready to win the 100-meter dash.
About my second sentence. It says, last year the new kid beat me. How can I make this sentence better? Jose wants to answer. Go ahead, Jose.
You can explain why you wanted to win.
Great answer. Jose, how could I explain why I wanted to win?
You could say last year the new kid came along and she beat me to the finish line.
Excellent job, Jose. Who wants to do the next sentence? Kara wants to do the next sentence. Kara, sentence 3 says, I have been training. What can I do to make this sentence better?
You can give better details about why you think you are going to win.
Very good, Kara. The next thing I described was what I saw and what the feeling was at school. I said, I arrived at school and everyone was wearing their house colors. Who wants to help me help my readers visualize what was happening? Jason wants to take this one. Go ahead, Jason. Well done, Jason. Who wants to help me improve sentence 5? Sentence 5 says, my yellow t-shirt was going to help me. Akina wants to help. Go ahead, Akina.
Well, you said your yellow shirt was going to help you, but you didn't tell your readers what your yellow shirt was going to help you do. I would say, my yellow t-shirt was going to help me win the gold.
Excellent job, Akina. The next sentence, sentence 6, says, as the day went on, all the events had come and gone. Long jump, high jump, shot put. Then they called the 4th grade 100-meter dash. What can I do to make this sentence better? Carmen wants to take this one. Go ahead, Carmen.
Well, you described what happened, but you didn't say what happened after they announced the 4th grade girls 100-meter dash. You should tell the readers what you felt like, because in the next sentence you talk about feeling sick, but you don't really say you felt sick, so I would say, as the day went on all the events had come and gone, long jump, high jump, shot put. When they called the 4th grade girls 100-meter dash, I felt like I was going to get sick.
Some suggestion, Carmen. You're right. In the next sentence, I talk about feeling sick, but I don't really tell the readers what I was feeling. So by ending the sentence with I felt like I was going to be sick when they called the 4th grade girls 100-meter dash is a perfect way to end this sentence. Let's take a look at our next sentence. Sentence 7 says, I felt sick. My legs were weak. I turned white. What do you guys think this sentence means in order to paint a more vivid picture in my reader's mind? Jose wants to answer. Go ahead, Jose.
I think you should use more descriptive details to describe what was happening to you that made you feel sick. This would help your readers picture what was happening and even relate to feeling sick, because everyone knows what getting sick feels like.
Fantastic, Jose. I agree with you. Describing exactly what I was feeling will definitely help my readers picture in their mind what was happening to me, and my readers will also be able to relate to what I was feeling. Okay, I ended the last sentence by saying I felt like I was going to get sick. But just saying I felt like I was going to get sick is vague. There's many different feelings that can make you feel like you're going to get sick. For example, I could have got hot all of a sudden and started to sweat. I could have got cold all of a sudden and got the shivers. I could have felt dizzy. How can I describe the feeling of about to get sick better? Jason wants to take this one. Go ahead, Jason.
Well, that depends if any of the feelings you just described were what you were really feeling. Were they?
Not really. I felt like I was about to throw up.
So why not start by saying something like, I can feel the puke about to fly out of my mouth and splatter everywhere.
That is one way to describe the feeling I was about to throw up, but it sounds a little gross. I don't want to gross out my readers. What about if I describe the feeling you get right before you throw up without using words that could gross out my readers? Jason is shaking his head yes. Remember, writers, most of the time it's almost impossible to find the right words the very first time or the second time. Sometimes you have to try even more times to get it right. Okay, Jason, I tried once, you tried once. That makes 2 times. They say the third time is the charm. So let's try this one more time together. I'll bet we'll get it this time. Jason, close your eyes for a second. Imagine you're about to throw up. The puke, as you said, feels like it's going to fly out and splatter everywhere. Your legs are weak. What does that feel like?
Well, it feels like my stomach jumping up my throat. You also say your legs felt weak. Sorry, Mrs. Fraser, I don't mean to insult you, but that sounds a little boring to me. When I was picturing what it felt like, I pictured my legs feeling like wobbly jello and looking white like a ghost.
Don't worry, Jason, you did not insult me. Your comment is what is called constructive criticism. An important part of life is criticism. Constructive criticism allows us to learn from our mistakes, improve ourselves, and help ourselves and others grow. Constructive criticism is feedback offered to improve the quality of something by providing precise and helpful suggestions to bring about a positive change. Criticism is important because it allows us to grow and learn from others. I think you're right, Jason. I loved how you described what you were feeling. Your description definitely is not boring. What if I said I could feel my stomach? Oh, while we're writing, let's take a look at the next sentence. It says the principal had the whistle. She winked. I think I need to add more details here as well. What do you guys think? Akina's nodding her head yes. Akina, how can I give this sentence more details?
Well, the sentence the way it is, could give readers some questions. Like you said, the principal had the whistle. Where did she have the whistle? In her hand, or around her neck? Who did she wink at, you or someone else? When did she wink?
Great point, Akina. The principal had the whistle in her mouth. She winked at me when I was getting in my lane.
Well, I would say, the principal had the whistle in her mouth. She gave me a wink as I came up to my lane.
Good job, Akina. Our next sentence says, "You can do it," I said. What about this sentence? What does it need to be a better sentence? Jose wants to answer. Go ahead, Jose.
Well, you could be more clear about who you were talking to. I think you were talking to yourself, but I'm not sure.
Excellent suggestion, Jose. You are right. I was talking to myself. I also agree with you, Jose. I should make this more clear to my readers. Jose, how could I make this more clear to my readers?
So, say that like this. This is a you can do it, I whispered to myself.
Very impressive, Jose. The next sentence says, I heard, on your marks, get set, and my legs started. I told my readers, I heard, on your marks, get set, and my legs started. But was I clear about what was happening to my legs? Because in sentence 7, 3 sentences before this one, I described my legs feeling like two pieces of wobbly jello on a spoon. So if the next thing I say about my legs is that my legs started, this might make my readers question exactly what my legs started to do. Did my legs start to give out, making me fall down? Did my legs start to go in different directions and I tripped? Did my legs start to move? Or did my legs start to freeze? What do you guys think? Do you think my sentence needs to be clearer? Or is it okay the way it is? Kara raised her hand first. Go ahead, Kara.
You're right, Mrs. Fraser. I asked basically the same questions after I read this sentence as well, and I was a little confused about what your legs started to do, but I thought I would find the answer in the next few sentences, so I didn't want to spend a lot of time trying to figure it out, because when I have a question about what the picture in my mind for this part of the story should look like, I can't picture what is happening. It makes me want to stop reading the story right there. You should tell your readers exactly what your legs started to do so they don't have any questions at all about what you are describing.
Well, what happened with my legs was that I started to run.
Okay. Then I would say I heard on your marks get set, and before I knew it my legs had started to move.
Fantastic job, Kiara. This is a perfect way to tell my readers exactly what my legs started to do, so that my readers can paint a clear picture in their minds about what I am describing. The next sentence, sentence 11, says, I knew what happened. I started too soon. How can we improve this sentence? Carmen wants to answer. Go ahead, Carmen.
I would say I know what had happened instantly. I had gone before the whistle.
I love it, Carmen. What about the next sentence? Sentence 12. It says, in the Olympics, people get disqualified for false starts. Does this sentence need to be changed, or is it fine the way it is? Jason has his hand up. Go ahead, Jason.
I think you can say the way it is.
Jason, why do you think this sentence can stay the way it is?
Because you're stating a fact. That is what happens in the Olympics.
Excellent observation, Jason. Yes, I am stating a fact, so I will keep this sentence the way it is. In the Olympics, people get disqualified for false starts. What about the next sentence? I watched my hopes and dreams leave. How can we make this sentence better? Akina wants to answer. Go ahead, Akina.
Well, I would give more details about what I was watching by saying, I could see my hopes and dreams floating away.
Well done, Akina. We're almost done, writers. Our next sentence says, but this wasn't the Olympics, and the principal told me to get back in line. What can we do to improve this sentence? Kara wants to answer. Go ahead, Kara.
What about saying luckily for me it wasn't the Olympics and the principal told me to get back in line to try again?
Excellent job, Kira. Okay, authors, let's finish strong. The last sentence says, I waited for the whistle. My legs felt like they were flying. I won the race. I want to add some suspense to make the ending more exciting. How can I add some suspense to make the ending more exciting? Jose wants to answer. Go ahead, Jose.
I think if you said, this time I waited for the whistle, this time my legs felt like they were flying, this time I won the race.
Today, authors. Today we learned what a personal narrative is. I modeled for you how to write a personal narrative, and we practiced writing and editing a personal narrative. Tonight for homework, I would like you to think of 3 ideas for a personal narrative you would like to write about, and fill out a personal narrative graphic organizer for each of your personal narrative writing ideas. You will use them next class to choose one of your personal narrative writing ideas to write your very own personal narrative.